Okay, now you're bringing a man in here tonight, just a little George Washington Carver. You know, he's teaching what grass is right and what plants are right and what tree bark is right. What's this about?
Yes, this event, we came across an extraordinary human being, El Hagan, who has spent the last 45, 50 years of his life gaining knowledge and falling in love with the natural world. So he sees himself as a healer, as a person who has well acquainted himself with many of the plants, trees, flowers, and shrubs, and he can identify them. He knows what they're good for. And so he will be our key speaker tonight, and he will share a video, not a video, but a PowerPoint of many of the images, many of the pictures of the trees and whatnot. And he will talk about that
today because it kind of speaks to his capacity to recognize the nature of a thing and to encourage and cultivate the nature of that thing for its best outcome. And when I was, I guess, about 10 years old, I caught an attitude with him one day, and he was just about to head out of town. And he said, "I'm going out of town. You got a lot of mouth. So when I get back, have a rat free." And I said, "I can't rat. I don't do that." And he said, "You can, and you will, and I'll be back in 3 days. Have a rat free." And I hadn't stopped writing it. And for me, that's kind of one of the greatest examples of how he's able to see in. And when I started learning about Dr. George Washington Carver and his work of speaking to the plants and being able to build that relationship with nature and see the nature of a thing and learn to cultivate it and learn to appreciate all the gifts that it can bring to the world, I see that same thing in my dad. And so I'm so excited to share him with you today. I'm going to give just a little brief introduction of him, and just so you know that it's not just that he's my dad. You know, he's kind of dope in general. So El Hagan is the director of the Academy of Cultural Arts and Life Sciences, a school that trains people in the art of natural living. He's a graduate of the Gibran Institute and also a master instructor in the Institute of Certified Martial Arts. He's been involved in the Essene healing arts for 34 years and has traveled and studied internationally on a journey of discovery about herbal systems, healing methods, and wellness strategies. His rich family background of African and Native American heritage has provided him with the indispensable wisdom of family members who have inspired his work. El Hagan has studied in Jamaica, Nigeria, France, Israel, and a whole bunch of other places all over the world, and has lived in several of the U.S. mountain ranges for 12 years as a part of the El Hakiru monastic order. He spent years farming organically in New Jersey and has had extensive training in forest and land conservation since his youth. My dad is also an excellent culinary artist. Like, for real, okay? Like, I am the kind of girl who likes to go to the corner store for chicken wings and white rice. And he's been cooking vegan meals my whole life that I could enjoy and go back to seconds and thirds. He's a fantastic chef. With his background in herbal essences and biochemistry, his vast knowledge of ancient esoteric arts like yoga, meditation, Nahtali martial arts, Moroccan and Egyptian massage, reflexology, Reiki, aura reading, and mental and spiritual health and wellness, my dad is a blessing to us all. And with so much pleasure and so much excitement, I just want to bring him to the stage.
Greetings and salutations, everyone, and may you all be blessed and empowered. And hopefully the discussion that we will have tonight will empower you more. That is my intention. there is a ancestral wish that our ancestors passed down. They wanted us to be well, and they wanted us to be okay, and they wanted us to be capable. So there's also another group of people that want us to be capable. It's called the trees and the plants, and those particular living beings, the green people, want us to be okay. So today I want to introduce you a little bit to that whole idea and concept and strengthen your own background in this field. It's a wonderful world out there, which is the name of our discussion, especially from a planet and plant perspective. All right, next one. All right, brought to you by Nature's Garden for Victory and Peace, an educational, social research, and development organization, which is this facility and those things which pertain to this facility. It is a development, and we're glad that you all were able to come and participate with us today. Next. The presenter is El Hagan, a herbalist, a naturalist, and an organic farmer, amongst a couple of other things. All right, the disclaimer. The discussion, the training, the session is for educational purposes only and not intended to diagnose or cure anything. We strongly advise you to seek the services of a qualified healthcare professional. El Hagan. Okay. All right. Nature was here a long time before we were, and its rules govern us, not we govern it. Many people are familiar with farm fresh, you know, the basics, and the many fruits that we so dearly love. A fairly complete diet, right? Well, that's according to the legend, what they told us. Okay, so what about life before farming? People and animals had to eat, birds were eating, all sorts of creatures had food, high quality food, which is still available now. The original natives knew of this food. They were also experts in how to gather it and how to prepare it, and many of our ancestors knew this knowledge as well. Many original people know the secret of real food, where to locate it, and how to collect it, how to prepare it, and the benefit of it. So many original foods and medicines for who will seek the knowledge. Okay, so let's get into some of the actual plants. While I was here, I visited 7 different farms, and each farm has something different on it. They had some of the same things, but from one area to the other, from one terrain to the other, from one elevation to the other, from one soil type to the other, there were differences in what was growing there. But for purposes of this event, I grouped them all together, and we'll just show you a few of these different plants. All right? So this one is called lamb's quarters. That's Chenopodium album. So all of these herbs, they have what they call a scientific classification name. The scientific classification name is for the purpose of being able to make sure that what you're talking about is the same thing another person is talking about. For example, how many people have heard of a polecat? How many people know that in other parts of the country they call a polecat a skunk? But if you only knew one name, and then you would think they were talking about a cat that does pole dancing. Okay, so these scientific names all mean something. I have them up there for those of you that are interested. All right, so this lamb's quarters, some of you have seen that plant on your land. You can actually eat it as is. You could also cook it, and you could saute it or different things you want to do with it. All right, so it's nutritionally better than spinach, and it'll rebuild your strength and energy immediately, like within a 15-minute period. It's high in bioavailable iron. It's in the quinoa family. So if you look at the quinoa plant and you look at the last quarter plant, it has the same leaves and everything. The only slight difference, the seeds are a little bit different. The seeds on the quinoa are bigger and they're more abundant in a cluster. But if you eat the quinoa plant, it tastes the same as lamb quarter. Same family, right? Okay. So it easily grows to 6 feet in height, and you can eat it raw or cooked. All right, this one is called the Rose of Sharon. How many people have seen one of those before? Okay. How many people know that that's one of the most beneficial tea that you could drink? You could make a tea out of the leaves, or you could make a tea out of the flowers. And if you're going to use the flowers, before the bud opens up, try to get it before the insects get in it, because once the insects get in it and pollinate it, it'll lose about 30% of its fragrance. And the fragrance comes from the essential oils and ketones that are in it, and that's also where the nutrients are located. The other part is the leaves. So it's an important part of the hibiscus family. It makes a wonderful and pleasant tea. The flowers and the leaves can be used. The flower makes a pleasant and calming tea. So if you drink it, it'll help your nerves get more balanced, right? So the leaves and the bark are helpful in cleansing the blood, meaning that they are high in iron. All right, the sourwood. This particular tree is not where I come from. I come from Philadelphia. There's no sourwood tree in Philadelphia. This is strictly a down south thing, and this particular plant is original from this landmass. So if it's in Europe, that's because somebody carried it over there. It started here. So the sourwood, which is the Oxydendrum arboretum, is the name of the plant. It's based on the tangy, accurate type taste of the leaves. It has like a sour, twangy taste, right? It's native to North America. Tea can be made out of the leaves. The young leaves can be eaten in salads, and the white flowers can be eaten as well. The sourwood honey is highly prized for its unique flavor. So if you have a lot of sourwood plants around in your area, and the bees are in that area, and they make honey off of that, that's a good tasting honey. And it's very, very, very rich in nutrients, okay? The tea can help address things like asthma. Okay. All right, now we have the sumac tree. How many people have seen a sumac tree before? How many people have ate the sumac tree before? How many people have drank the tea off the sumac tree? How many people have used seasonings to come off the sumac tree? Okay. It's sometimes referred to as the lemonade tree. It has these clusters of red red berries that get up on it. And those berries taste a lot like lemon. And you can make a tea out of them. It tastes like lemonade. But when the tree is mature, it yields these red berries that have a lemony taste. It's used to make a famous Middle Eastern dressing called sumac. It makes an immune boosting tea. And the blueberries make an astringent tonic. It's helpful to rid the body of infections. Now, if you got all these plants that can rinse you out, like, how many people in here take showers? How many people take baths? How many people get a shower inside their body? Okay, so these herbs are going to help you wash the inside out. How many people believe that you could be dirtier inside than you could be outside? Okay, so we need our herbs. And how many of us know that our ancestors knew these herbs left, right, up, down, in, out. And for some reason, the knowledge didn't transfer over. Because the media was selling us a new package. In 1923, what they give us? The AMA. And what was their job? Get rid of the herbalists. Okay, enough said on that subject. Perilla. So this is a plant in the mint family. You could make a bitter salad, or you could cook the greens. Now this plant, it comes in purple and it comes in green like that. Sometimes the purple one is called a beefsteak plant. Why, I have no idea. Okay, it is an anti-allergenic and an anti-inflammatory plant. It helps to prevent tumors. So how many people know that if you got products that go in your body that systematically dissolve clumps of mucus and hard buildup, that it won't form into a cyst? If it can't form into a cyst, it also can't form into a tumor. A tumor is a worse cyst. All right, I'm going to tell you a little quick story. And the children around good. How many people have ever heard of something called snot? Okay. Now, you know, in the polite world and in the scientific world, they don't say words like snot because it's not proper. They say words like fibrin. So fibrin is snot, right? Okay. Have you ever looked in your nose and over a period of time, whatever is in there, it collects and turns harder and turns like green, and then it's a little thicker, and then it turns like brown, and it's a little thicker. After a while, it's dry and thick, and you can't move it, right? And you can't breathe like that, right? Okay, the same thing happens inside your body at a place where you can't get your finger in there to dislodge it, right? Now, we're not talking about fibrin. So if you get a whole bunch of fibrin and it hardens into a clump, what would that be called? A it's called fibrin, right? So if you get a hard piece of fibrin, it is a, thank you, fibroid. Woo. So you mean that is made out of hard mucus? Yes. And if it's a soft amount, it's a fibroid cyst. If it's a hard amount, it's a fibroid tumor. Okay. So you have to get cut open to get it out, right? Did somebody cut you open to install it?
No.
All right, I'm just asking. I mean, you know, just asking. Okay. A lot of these plants, you're going to see that they have similar characteristics where they are able to dissolve hard material in you and break down mucus. If it can do that, it can clean you out, then you don't have to have these horrible diseases. Make sense?
Yes.
All right, let's go. All right, this thing helps to prevent tumors, and I just explained how it does it. It's used as a regular vegetable in Asian cuisine. They eat it all the time. The seeds can also be used as a seasoning garnish. Now, coming back, most of you got something like this in your house. This is a cedarwood plant, right? Cedar tree. You see those little blueberries on there? If you see those little blueberries, you should collect them all and take them in your house and keep them until it's time to eat them, right? All right, so the name of the cedarwood is the Juniperius virginiana. Okay? It's world renowned and loved for the fragrance and the antiseptic quality. The berries are helpful in diabetes. The oil can be used as an insect repellent and to help with skin infections and as a natural deodorizer. The aroma helps to produce a calming effect on the nerves and on the mind. It's a long-lasting buildings are made out of that cedarwood tree. Like I've seen some log cabins that were 100 years old and they were still functional, made out of cedarwood, right? Okay, so now the bonus is, if you eat one of those little berries in the morning and eat one in the afternoon, that's going to help you break down the excess sugar content. It's going to help you with the pancreas. It's going to help you with your kidneys and all of that, right? All right, strawberries. How many people ever had strawberries?
Here.
The basic strawberry, right? Do you know that the strawberry is the only fruit that the seeds are on the outside? Now what's up with that? Okay, so strawberry is a Frazier colina. Its leaves are high in iron, and the whole plant is in the rose family. The fruits are good for digestion, and they are a powerful antioxidant. Okay, this is a hickory tree. Now the hickory, there's about 4 different species of hickory, or maybe 6 different species of hickory. They have a front center leaf, then they have 2 even leaves going down. This particular one, it has 7 leaves in each cluster, right? So that's the Perilla lacinosa, right? So it's got a very, very hard wood. They make baseball bats out of it, and they make furniture. A piece of hickory furniture is a long-lasting, nice piece of furniture, right? So, medicinally wise, you can make an infusion of the bark as an arthritis treatment. So, what is arthritis? Arthritis is very, 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 very hard mucus mixed with crystallized uric acid and carbonic acid crystals that get caught in the joints and caught in between the arteries, right? If you can break that stuff down, it's going to be flexible and free again. So that's what you're trying to do, right? All right, so this plant is also a liver treatment, and it yields an edible nut, which is good for a digestible protein, right? Nuts are a little bit on the bitter side, so you may have to roast them or either boil them. The Indians used it. They would make porridge out of those nuts, and they would eat them roasted as well. So it's got a certain amount of natural fat in it as well. Now here's a plant that you will see a lot. It's called the blue violet. Now in the springtime, that thing has a little purplish color flower. It may have a white flower, and some of them have white flowers with little blue streaks in it. So this is called the blue violet. It's abundant in the open fields from the early spring. It is a blood cleanser, and all parts of that plant may be used. It's an edible bitter green, so it tastes a little bit bitter, but you can put it in salads, and if you balance your salad between sweet greens and bitter greens, it has a nice little appealing taste to it. So it helps to break up respiratory infections, and it stimulates lymph production, supporting the immune system. That's not bad, right? Elderberry. How many people have seen this along the sides of the road? Like a little stalk with these little white cluster flowers? Yeah, that's an elderberry plant. So it's called Sambucus nigra, the black elder. All right? So the medicinal benefits come from the berries, which should not be eaten raw. Like, don't ever see those berries and go collect them and put them right in your mouth. You will not be happy. It'll scald all the skin off the inside of your throat. Now, how you can use them, let them dry first, and then you can put them in a tea. Or if you're going to use fresh ones, you make jelly out of it or something like that. No problem. but just don't eat them raw. Okay? They are good cold and flu relief. The berries are often made into a syrup, like a cough syrup, and an infusion of the berries provides an anti-inflammatory support. The berries and the flowers can help lower the blood sugar, and it helps improve the blood iron and the circulation, right? It's a refreshing thirst quencher. So if you pull it off the ground and just eat it straight, if you're like thirsty outside, it'll balance that thirst out. It's got a spicy flavor. The leaves are great in salads. It has a tangy lemony taste, and it can be used as a seasoning. It helps to relieve indigestion, and it soothes the stomach, and it makes a wonderful iced tea. You need quite a bit of them, but usually they are very abundant wherever you see them. Greenbrier. How many people know about Greenbrier? How many people, when you went in the woods, some kind of stickers catch your leg, and when you try to pull back, it wraps around you, and it keeps attacking you? Well, that's this one. It has stickers on it, and it has these little climbing tendrils. Okay, well now is your chance to get even. Yeah, you can eat them. So now they won't be so quick to grab you. All right, so the young leaves, you can eat them like a salad, and they are very, very tasty. Some of them, the young leaves are red in color, but then the older leaves are a little bit tough. So eating them is not as easy, but you can cook. So you can, the root of the plant is actually a diuretic. Now diuretic, for those of you who are not sure about what that is, it'll help you produce urine so that you can rid yourself of toxins that are lodged in your body or in your blood, right? The young leaves and the tendrils make excellent salad greens. The roots can be dried and ground into a powder. The leaves can be made into a tea for use as a general tonic, and it is said that the roots contain testosterone. But you didn't hear it from me. Okay. Huckleberries. How many people know huckleberry? So huckleberry is in the blueberry family, right? So anything that's in the blueberry family is called the Vaccinium. The Vaccinium Galuciaceae. Okay. All right, so this is a wild blueberry plant. So the leaves, there are at least 5 different plants referred to as huckleberries. They all look slightly different, and they taste slightly different. The berries are different colors, from dark black to a light red color. And they would be in the woods. All of them are similar, but they got different flowers too. That all of them are rich in vitamin C, and an infusion of the leaves supports the urinary function, right? I'm giving you all these nice secrets, right? I have an ulterior motive in my purpose for being up here. I'm actually trying to turn all of you into herbalists. Yay! So I know that I wouldn't make as much money if I give all the secrets away, but hey, what the heck? All right, this is a mimosa tree. Now, the mimosa tree was brought to this country in 1785 by the French botanist André Michel, who planted it in his botanical garden in Charleston, South Carolina. Now, you see those things look like little furry things, so when the wind blows them, they spread, right? And how many people know that this plant is all over the United States now? Right? Okay, that's good. The bark and the leaves are used in Chinese medicine. Now the Chinese call it the happiness or the feel-good tree because it promotes a calm and normal mood, and it happens to support the nervous system. So if you have this plant and you take the leaves off it and you make a tea with it, Very, very, very calming to you. And it's not a hallucinogenic, it just makes you feel like everything is all right. Very great, wonderful. All right, now this one, this is pretty much everywhere. But I had some people tell me it's not in certain sections of Atlanta. So I had to go and investigate that and see. This is called mugwort. Now some people call it ragweed, but they probably call us ragweeds too. So, it helps with gas and bloating. It's used in acupuncture treatment for what they call moxibustion, where they burn some dry mugwort over an acupuncture point to get it to balance out, right? It helps ease the pain of menstruation. As a tea, sometimes people rub it directly into the muscles to ease the pain off those muscles. It can be added to massage products, and it makes a soothing bath. And this is something that's easy for people to do. It is a mild hallucinogen when smoked. I didn't say that. Okay, it can also be made into smudge sticks. Yellow dot. Say that word.
Yellow dot.
Say it loud.
Yellow dot.
Yeah, yellow dot. Okay, yellow dot happens to be one of my favorite plants on the earth because it is very tasty. It's got a wonderful flavor. I eat it every time I find some nice ones that the bugs haven't got to first. I will take it home and saute it with onions and tomatoes, and then I'm gonna eat it. So I'll eat the leaves like you eat greens. You can eat the seeds too. So the Latin name for that is Lumix crispus. So you can make an infusion out of the root, and that's an excellent blood builder. Why is it an excellent blood builder? Because it's really high in iron. And how many people know that you need plenty of iron? How many people know that if you don't have the proper amount of iron, which is the magnetic mineral, that you're not going to have enough magnesium, you're not going to have enough zinc, copper, gold, iron, manganese, and zinc, and all of those things, right? Potassium, calcium, etc. The iron has to hold all of those molecules in place. So if your iron is low, then you're going to be minerally deficient any way you cut it. You will love to have this tea in your body. Okay? So it's a delicious edible green. It helps to improve the liver function, and it supports healthy digestion. The leaves can be sauteed or eaten raw. Now, river birch. Now, river birch, it has a whitish color bark. And when it reaches maturity, the bark tears. They look like pieces of paper. And the tree looks really raggedy when it's a certain age. Some people call it paper birch, right? But this plant is so great. You can make a salve out of the inner bark to put on skin sores. You can also chew the leaves or make it into an infusion for, cleaning your insides out and making your, breaking up mucus clots. And people that got colds and flu and all of that, a tea out of this will help to break it up and get you back running again. Okay, so the birch beer can be made out of this delicious plant. A tea made out of the bark breaks up colds. It's great for breaking up excess mucus. So anytime I tell you something will break up mucus, know that that will break up cysts and tumors, right? You just need a lot of it and consistently. Sourdough. I just talked about yellow dot, so why am I talking about sourdough? It looks almost like the same plant, with the exception the leaf is shorter and generally the midrib of the leaf is red in color. And this plant, it has a bitter taste. So it's not sweet like, well, almost not sweet, but it has a you know how arugula tastes? That's how yellow dock tastes, a little bit like that, right? But this one, you might have to acquire a taste. I like that bitter bite that it has, and I like to saute it. And when I'm up north, a lot of days, like certain, maybe 2 days out of the week, I will go shopping in the woods to get some plants that I'm going to use in my food supply. And I got a whole bunch of people into that habit now. They shop out in the woods, and it has actually cut their food bill down. Okay, so it's similar to yellow dock, except it has a red stripe. Its leaves are a source of vitamin A, protein, iron, and potassium. A leaf infusion can be made as a skin wash for eczema, boils, and acne. It also has been used to treat jaundice, diarrhea, and constipation. Now, the lemon tree. The lemon tree is not something that you're likely to see that often in the mid to northern Alabama. On the coast, on the Gulf Coast, actually from Montgomery southern, you can see some lemon trees because Montgomery is actually on a different climate belt than this area, even though it's like right down the street basically. So, but anyway, I saw one on one of these journeys. So I wanted to mention the lemon. You can use the lemon itself. It's a high antioxidant, and the juice of it will help to rinse your body out and dissolve mucus. You can also use the leaves and make a tea out of them. So say like a person has a very heavy cold and your body is like congested to the point where it's the type of cold that'll hold you for like weeks. The lemon leaves will break that up very quickly. I would suggest that you don't use more than 4 leaves in a quart of water, because they are very strong. And if you take them too strong, you'll be vomiting like that. Yeah, so the orange tree is like that. A grapefruit tree is like that. You can also use the skin. And the skin is where the essential oil is located inside of the citrus fruit. The seeds also are anti-cancer plants. So you heard of grapefruit seed extract? Well, you see how much it costs, right? But if you buy the grapefruit and you take your own seeds out and crush them up, then you got the grapefruit seed extract. So you don't have to get all fancy and go to the store and buy all these extra things. Okay, all right, so all of your citrus fruits are cancer fighters. So that's good to know as well. Now, you're not going to capture with so much understanding from this one discussion, but I'm trying to stimulate you to think along these lines of looking for real solutions right within your fingertips, right? So the blueberry plant, the basic normal blueberry that you see on the table, or you see it at the store, or you see it on the blueberry bush. So it's high potency antioxidant. It's full of high quality bioflavonoids, and it's a natural easy laxative and dietary fiber, right? It supports liver health, and the infusion of the leaves supports kidney cleansing. It's a natural diuretic. All right, mullein. How many people have seen that plant before? Okay, this is a good one. One of the reasons it's good, this is a plant that you can make a tea for little children with. Like, If you have, say like you got a baby, and the baby's filled up with mucus, and the nose is running, and they're having a hard time breathing, we generally will make a tea out of mullein, catnip, and nettle, and equal parts, and then let the child have that. Now typically, if a child is less than 2 years old, we would treat the mother and get the baby well that way. But for babies that are eating, like they eat food already, if they get clogged up, and most of them get clogged up from eating crackers, chips, donuts, and pastries like that, milk, cheese, it's at a rate that their body can't process, and so they get excess mucoprotein. So that combination, mullein, nettle, and catnip, will help to gently break that stuff up and run it out of them. Make the nose run, and then they'll be back at playing within so many hours, right? So the mullein is also known as Aaron's rod. You know who Aaron is, right? Moses' brother. I'm Moses. I want to talk about your brother. All right, so the flowers and the leaves are used. It dissolves excess mucus and is good for cleaning up colds and coughing. It's excellent for clearing the respiratory system, and it is safe for children. The leaves can be made into a poultice for boils and burns. This is an interesting plant. It's called American beautyberry. The fruits, this plant, it has white flowers every leaf joint. And those white flowers turn into little purple berries, and they look like jewelry beads. But it's a really beautiful plant. Many people like to make jelly out of the fruits of this plant, and the roots are a diuretic. You can take some of the oil off of the leaves and rub it on your skin, and it becomes a natural bug repellent. So the whole plant is antibacterial and antifungal. The Indians used to make a steam bath out of the leaves and the fruits to counteract dizziness and stomach upsetness. The research is being done now on how this plant can be used as an anti-cancer agent. All right, this should be one of your favorite plants because it only grows in your area. This does not grow anywhere else in the United States except the southeastern area. Even in northern Alabama, you don't see this plant as prevalent. And it's all over here. So it's sometimes referred to as Yukon Holly because it's part of the holly family. It's an indigenous plant to the southeastern part of the United States. It was used by the Indians as an energizing beverage. Because of its caffeine content, it's often used as a coffee substitute. However, it's much more healthier for you than coffee because it has a host of antioxidants in it. And the other thing is, commercially, it's offered roasted. Like they have what they call a dark roast, where they'll actually roast the leaves and make something that tastes a little bit like coffee. And some of you might have a lot of this growing in your yard. You may consider packaging it and adding to your economics. Oh yeah. The black walnut tree. This has got to be one of my favorite plants on the earth. This plant kills worms. It kills intestinal parasites. And, you know, there's a lot of ideas as to how a person could get parasites and get worms and all of that. You could be eating any kind of animal, you can get worms. You could be eating any kind of vegetable, you can get worms. You could be eating nothing and get worms. So worms gotta live too. They find their way into your body. And wherever they go in, they like to make a home because that's what they're trying to do. So periodically, it's good to take a vermifuge, which is an anti-worm agent, right? So you could take those fruits and grate them, and then take the grating and soak it in vodka or something like that. After about 14 days, you will have a black walnut extract, right? Now, interesting thing about the black walnut tree, the leaves have that quality, the bark has that quality, the roots have that quality, the nuts have that quality, and the hull of the nut have that quality. So, it produces a high protein nut. The fruit and the bark also yield a clothing dye. So, every part of the tree has a vermifuge property that will expel worms, planaria, liver flukes, and other intestinal parasites. And a skin wash can be made out of any part of the tree that helps clean different funguses off of you, like candida, for example, eczema, and those type of things. Now, one of our favorite trees, and I think I have helped it to become more people's favorite, is called the pine tree. There are many types of pine trees, and all of them are good and all of them work. So there's pine trees in every part of the world. They contain more vitamin C than an orange juice. It also is very high in vitamin A and beta carotene. There's another ingredient called proanthocyanidins. You want to say that? Proanthocyanidins. So what those are really super powerful antioxidants. So why do you need an antioxidant? Because your normal metabolic process causes you to kind of rust on the inside. Those antioxidants counteract that internal corrosion. Make sense? So that's what we're trying to do. All right. It's one of the most highly nourishing plants on the earth. It's an antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, and anti-cancer. It supports the growth of new stem cells, and it's generally known as an anti-aging drink. So we make tea out of that pine and drink it freely. It's very tasty, very refreshing. So, after hearing all of these wonderful things, where do we go from here? So, you want to start familiarizing yourself with earth. All right. You can attend libraries and bookstores and look up the effects of earth. Begin your own personal library of herbal books. Most bookstores have an herbal section, and now you got the biggest bookstore in the world at your house, called some kind of Zion. All right, switch to using herbal teas as opposed to using like Tetley and Lipton and all of that stuff like that. Those are herbs, but it's kind of that's the orange pekoe leaf that those teas are made out of, and it's so plain compared to the rich bounty that you have right at your fingertips. Start bringing more herbs into your own house to use. Use the internet more to study about different types of herbs and their benefits. Start building your own herbal medicine cabinet. And white screen. So Are you kind of getting where I'm going with this whole thing? So attend nature walks. You see that little guy down in the middle? He's the urban teacher from somewhere. Okay, so form your own study groups and share the ideas that you discover. There's no right and no wrong way to really use herbs. We're just talking about mostly medicinal right now. We didn't even talk about arts and craft herbs. We didn't talk about mostly the food herbs. We didn't talk about dyes. We didn't talk about herbs that you can make into clothing, herbs that you can make into baskets, and different kind of ways.
What's your top herb in arthritis?
Well, there's no real top herb for that, but I will tell you this, and the reason I'm answering in the manner in which I'm answering, because I want to get you all in the habit of thinking like an herbalist. You want something that's got some fire in it. So ginger, horseradish, some cayenne pepper, all of those kind of plants that are fiery like that. You can make you a tonic out of these different fire plants, and it'll help to break that mucus up.
Go ahead.
What's the herb that helps build bones, strong bones?
So herbs that are high in calcium are typically going to help you with your bones. So things that are high in iron and things that are high in calcium. The yellow dock will help you with your bones. Burdock will help you like that. Certain trees like that, hickory, because one thing, whatever the characteristic of the food that you eat, you're going to inherit some of that characteristic. So if you're taking foods from a tree, and the tree is very sturdy and powerful, it's going to impart that power into you. You know, and see, like when you are researching herbs, you could ask questions like that. Which herbs are high in calcium? Which are, like a lot of the herbalists around the world categorize the herbs according to what they will help you with. Oak trees, making tea out of oak bark, that will help you. That's a very, very strong, powerful tree in itself. So these wild nut trees, they'll help you with your bones. The black walnut, hickory nut tree. All your oak trees have acorns on them. The acorns, you have to cook them because the tannins in them make them hard for you to deal with otherwise.
The herbs that you showed on screen, can we search for those? I mean the time of year, that's what I'm going to ask. What time of year?
All of those pictures were taken within this last month.
So what about for fall? Are they going to be available? I'm just saying, what time of year is the best time to be looking for harvesting these herbs?
Okay, so each herb has its own harvest cycle. So you would have to become familiar with that herb to be able to make sense out of it.
I have another question.
Sister, also, how about when we dry them and store them? We can have them use them throughout the year, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Collecting the herbs and take them home and dry them.
Okay.
Now, the whole business of drying the herb, some people have these dehydrators, and you can put the herbs in the dehydrator in about 96 hours at about 105 degrees. You could have a dried herb. Now, if you don't have a dehydrator, if you just hang it up in a warm place, it will dehydrate on its own. after about a week or so. Some people do it in the oven, but they don't turn the oven on. If the oven has a pilot light, it's warm enough in there to dry your herbs.
I have another one. A lot of ladies have issues with their thyroid. So my question is, what herb will help balance the thyroid?
Okay, typically, your thyroid responds well to sea vegetables because the sea vegetables are high in iodine, and that's the one that is generally out of balance that causes the thyroid to go off either hyper or hypo. So the seaweed will help you to rebalance. So seaweeds will be like wakame, kelp, hijiki, dulse, things like that.
Say them again.
Wakame, W-A-K-A-M-E. Arame, A-R-A-M-E. Kelp, K-E-L-P. Hijiki, H-I-J-I-K-I. And you know most of them have Japanese names because the Japanese, they knew from ages on to keep seaweed in their diet. And the seaweed chemistry is very similar to your blood chemistry. That's why it supports you in such amount. Yeah. I did not finish writing my book yet, but on the back of your program, you'll see a list of books that I suggest that you go get and read them, and that'll give you a very nice background into this field.
On your book, I have a book called The New Age Herbalist. You familiar with that, and is that a good resource?
I have never heard of that particular one. There are millions of books on earth, and one thing, those of you that speak more languages than just English, that's a good thing, because there are materials written in different languages that are not in English, where people from other walks of life and other places have looked into a matter according to their culture and bring a rich background of understanding to this field. So it's unfortunate that the people in America have generally been instructed to just speak one language, but if you speak French or Lithuanian or Serbo-Croatian, Hausa, whatever, there are books written in those languages that are very, very beneficial for you gaining further knowledge. But the one thing I would say, share your knowledge amongst each other. Instead of just talking about soap operas and who did what to whom, talk about herbs and talk about how you could be well and share your experiences. Like if you had a good experience with an herb and it was meaningful to you, talk about that. And start getting deeper into the aspect of experiencing these plants. Because if you show appreciation to the plants, that's kind of one way of showing appreciation for the earth. It's a way of showing a level of stewardship. It's a way of showing God that you appreciate the creation.
Now, it's obvious to me that you have vision and you have understanding of what the whole world is about. You know, some of us see a city in a grocery store and we feel that, well, that's my life. You seem to see the whole world as a way of belonging. What's your charge to the people in Tuskegee and Macon County?
Yeah, that's a really good question. my hope, my declaration is that people would adopt the Booker T. Washington model, you know, which is one of self-reliance, working with the head, the hands, and the heart. You know, that's all we have to do. That's my charge, and certainly we need to come together in ways that would allow us to be proactive. We don't have to wait, not only in Tuskegee, we don't have to wait for the government to do anything for us. We have the ability to roll our sleeves up and accomplish what you will. You know, that's what Marcus Garvey said, up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will. And so that is what I'm doing, you know, as an individual in collaboration with many other people, you know, that we are looking at what we can do.
Do you miss the classroom?
I'm creating a classroom.
Okay, you're creating your own, right?
I'm creating a classroom because so much of what we're doing is about educating. Educating, you know, ourselves. That's one of the things that I realized as a professor is that that everything that I was teaching, I was relearning also.
Right.
And sometimes I felt if I was teaching a new course that I was only 2 or 3 chapters ahead of the students, you know. And so, yes, I am a lifelong learner. For sure. I'm still very excited about things that I don't know or things that I haven't fully understood. And I really depend on other people in our collective to be in dialogue about some of these very difficult conversations that need to be had. And I'm always amazed at how new insights can percolate when you're in a group. You know, sometimes you can say something and somebody else like you would hear and you would add value to what I've said because you heard something that I really, you know, didn't know that I was even speaking about, you know. That's the beauty of being in group, and that's why I love always trying to collaborate in everything that I do.
And that's saying that you know, learn something new every day if you are willing and knowledgeable of the fact that that education is out there for you to grasp. That is really true.
And I think, you know, people will copy, we see people copying bad, but people will copy good too. So I feel like if we can create a few really powerful projects, it'll be, people will copy it. And that's what we want to have happen. We want people to take, you know, when we're able to really fully realize the vision of Nature's Garden, we want to share it with the world, whoever is interested. You know, it's like creating a viable community where agriculture and culture itself is one aspect of it. So we talk about a holistic community development model, which would include, you know, economics, renewable energy, education for our children, rites of passage programs, you know, everything that's needed, real estate development, because we have approximately 35 acres that we're intending to build on.
Okay, well, you're done good, and I'm proud of you.